Hey, just gonna do a bit of I was either gonna do some what's it called? Gestures. I was gonna do a tutorial review. I think I'm gonna do some pose stuff. Corgi poses? Is that something that exists and that's real? Let's see. 2 seconds, 10-second break. We're gonna start. If you can find me some cute corgi poses. Shit's starting pretty rough right now. Make sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, you guys can hear me good. How are you guys doing, by the way? Oh, fuck. Oh, 1 second, I gotta start it up again. Alright, start again. Stimulants, you say? I've actually upped my stimulants as well. I increased my Concerta dose. One second. Let's see. I'm just using Intuos 5 Pro from like 10 years ago. Keep getting bigger and bigger. I gotta shrink this stuff up. Eventually I'll get a new tablet, I think. I don't know. This thing's lasted quite a long time and I have a feeling for how it feels, but I also detest Wacom. I'll respond more appropriately in a second. I'm actually doing timed stuff, so I need to pay a little bit of attention for this session. but it's almost, oh, okay, it's done. I really failed this pose. I'll get it eventually. I mean, I've always been on screenless tablets for quite the longest time. I think the only time I was using them a lot was in between 2014 and 2013 and 2016, and then I moved back to screenless tablet for quite a long time until basically last year is the first time I started using an iPad. There are some benefits I think that aren't very obvious. They're just a shit company, and they do stuff that I really don't agree with. It's not really worth getting into. But yeah. Screenless tablet has the advantage of, I'm gonna do upside down ones now. Screenless tablets have the advantage of better movement. Like you can move very shortly. Better at you can basically move your brush around way faster than on a screen tablet because it's not one for one, right? So moving like an inch on your tablet versus moving 3 inches on your screen, and what that affords is, you know, it's more flighty, like it's more fidgety. But as far as like sketching goes, being able to do a broad stroke on your screen means way less like arm fatigue. But it does also mean that you're doing a lot more wrist motion, a lot less arm motion. It's just a different way to kind of draw. And then if you have a few different styluses, you can change each stylus to have a different amount of ratio. So I have another stylus whose ratio is a lot less strong. So if I do need detail, I can change that stylus. Posture is better, so you're not like hunched over. Also, screens get also the art gets like your hand gets in the way of what you're trying to do, so it's kind of hard to see sometimes what you're trying to draw. Posture is bad. The heat can get annoying, and you can sweat that shit up. Also, when your tablet breaks, you lose a screen. You lose a screen and a tablet. You lose 2 pieces of technology instead of just one. Also, tablets are a lot more resilient and like basically they're basically gonna last forever, which is why I think Wacom started doing superficial bullshit on them to make you want to buy another one. I should listen to some music right now. Like, you can buy this tablet, which is like a rock solid tablet, probably used, and it'd be fully functional for the rest of your life for about $100. And it's like a large. It might be hard to get one for $100, but I don't doubt you could find one. I'm more than sure these have been tossed out before, as people got screen ones and they're like, fuck this thing. So, I mean, it's really up to, like, there are mechanical advantages. It's not just like, oh, it's just more resilient, it's cheaper, etc. It's just, also you're close. Okay, so here's another thing. The screen gets in the way of the digitizer. So as far as precision goes, of pressure precision, you're losing some pressure precision, so you have to be okay with that too. Is it noticeable to most people? No. Can I notice it? Yes. Do I really care lately? No. But there was a time I cared enough to like make it a point of annoyance for me. It feels very strange to do this, but it shouldn't affect your ability to draw poses. If anything, drawing upside down should make everything make less sense and make you more easily able to see the art less as symbols and more as like patterns and shapes. I don't quite know if there's an advantage to it, but I'm just trying to improve my my gestural drawing, so the goal here is less like anything. I'm not really thinking anything is beyond like trying to just get better at this like mechanical aspect of gesture drawing, like find a good voice for the process. But also it allows you to keep re-exploring the same pose over and over without getting fatigued or like memorizing just that single pose. My strokes are too short. I need a little bit of more stroke economy here. That's one thing I'm noticing. My strokes are getting shorter and shorter, and I should be really trying to get as much information as possible in one fell swoop. All right. I'm gonna take just a short break and do it again. All right, starting again. I'd show the references I'm looking at, but the problem is that YouTube and Twitch would outright straight up ban me. Yeah, I think the speed factor definitely is important to the drawing process. It doesn't feel like it should, but I think it really does like help you break out of like it helps you get into flow zone, your like flow state as they call it, and like break you out of the like overthinking zone where you're like way too like stuck in your old ways. You got a live one. So what I'm adding to this is what I'm adding to this process is essentially I'm using a program to slowly hide the image as I'm doing it. So I'm doing the same set over and over and over again, like flipped or upside down, etc. And each time I do it, there's like little strips or bands that are like hiding more and more of the image, so that I'm kind of forced to rely less and less on the images. Yeah, I'm using it. Yeah, exactly. Well, this one is 60 seconds right now. But what it's doing is it's slowly hiding the image in little strips. So I started with no hiding. And then each pass I hide 20% more of the image. And the goal with this is to start separating you from over-reliance of the reference image and start internalizing the learning, the pose and what you're learning. I think this is, I don't think anyone talks about this or does this. This is a theory I have on this process being a more effective way of learning, because I'm tired of like waiting around to improve. So this is a thing I'm testing. Because, and here's the thing, it's like I also think it's like more close to how, like, you know, when you first start drawing, the whole character isn't there yet, right? So this is like it's getting closer and closer to the feeling of starting from scratch, from nothing. But I'm really seeing it kind of fall apart as I get less and less reference. I'm seeing like myself kind of fall into old patterns, because like I can only see the legs in this one. So it's definitely good at forcing me to really start applying what I saw last time, if I can recollect it, instead of using old methods. It's a thing I made. It's my own software. It's not exactly publicly available. It's like a website, but it's not fully publicly available yet. I'm still testing it a bit. I think I've shared it on my Discord. But if you go here, I'll just link it to you, but it's beta, so don't, if you go here and you expect it to be working perfectly, it's not. It could go down at 80 time. I think it's called this. 1 second. 1 second, let's see if I can find a link. Backspace. On this. All right, my thing's over again. I'm gonna take a short break. So my feeling, my what I've been doing recently is I'm tired of not being able to like pose full bodies without doing all this understructure. So I'm kind of working on improving that right now. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I'm almost done here, ready to start up again. Yeah, I still use Psy. Alright, back to work. I'm only going to do about an hour today because I gotta keep on top of a bunch of stuff. Sorry for burping. Getting all the gases out. Oh, fuck, come here. I'm standing up now. 1 second. I feel like I've kind of become unable to do appealing art. That's a risk of indulging in life drawing. In your basics, you kind of have to eschew stylistic decisions and stuff. And rely more on like the basics. But problem with that is that like I said, sorry, my brain's all fucking all over the place. 1 second. Problem with that is you kind of just over time, I feel like you kind of, I've made this statement before, but I actually think part of what defines our styles is our strengths and weaknesses combined. And if you start tackling some of your weaknesses, you're kind of tampering with your style, if that makes any sense. This is not going well. I'll wait for the next pose. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is pathetic. Pathetic show of force. You really have to get into the zone for this to work. Oh, fuck. This is brutal. I thought this would get easier, but it's actually getting a little harder now. I guess don't break your streak if you're doing good. I think this should be done in a block of 30 to 40 minutes without actually interrupting the process. This is a bit of a pathetic showing today, I don't know. I feel like this form here can work pretty good. This sort of shape. See if I can apply this sort of idea. It's kind of hard to implement this idea of these legs first. Process is line of action first and then outside in. It's like you go like this and then you build the outside. That's supposedly the best approach. Then you worry about the inside after, although I just very tricky. This is pathetic. It's kind of hard. Getting not as good results. I might have to break this for a little bit. So here's what I think is you do a line of action, find the base of the neck and draw it down. So now I know where the neck is. Actually, that's much better. And now I can, now I know how to organize the body. Here, this is a lot easier. I think I gotta do this. It's pretty bad. But it's easier to actually identify how to build this body later on. So actually, I should probably draw this the plumb line. So the head like this. No, actually, the plumb line, and then the line of action. I'm getting worse and worse results. I'm going to think I'm gonna stop after this. I think my brain's a little tapped out on this process, but I still need to keep doing it. I just can't. If I'm not getting the results now. Okay, so collarbone, head, plumb line, line of action. And then, all right, let's start working. I was getting better results. I'm just kind of feeling a little worn out on this process already, and I think it's just mentally exhausting. Plumb line. And then, all right. Then the outside first. This was pretty bad too, but I think I'm getting closer and closer to what I need to do. Ugh, fuck, these are bad. These are getting worse and worse. It's kind of weird. So plumb line. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely a taxing process. It doesn't seem like it would be. I feel like even like maybe 45 minutes is a lot to ask. I think 45 minutes is the max. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over my drawings again. And I'm actually going to do slight corrections because, as I've repeated, I believe the correction step is actually an integral aspect of improving. And if you don't do this part, you won't remember it. You kind of have to do it. Feel it's easy to kind of just walk away and say I did the work, but I think I think it's probably the most neglected component of improving, and I think I'm going to stick to this idea of never walking away from a session without applying or correcting. But what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to see how far off my drawing was. My gesture was from the original. I actually think measuring this aspect is probably important because it's easy to kind of get lost in the swoops and then kind of lose what you're trying to do, which is the accuracy component of art. I mean, if you're trying to inject more energy into your poses, I don't think this aspect is important. But I think if you're trying to just like improve your output. Oh, let's see where I'm at here. Let's see if I can find any of the drawings I've my original references. All right, let's see. There. I can draw too. Listen, buddy, I don't doubt it. No one ever said you can't draw, but this is my channel. I think it's easy to just kind of trick yourself into thinking you learned something because the results on the page look good. But it's really misleading. And frankly, I'm just considering the amount of drawing I've done in my life. A lot of it was, I don't want to say misguided, but just like not structured because I'm just ADHD and, you know, like I said, learning difficulties makes structured learning environments intolerable usually for me. So I'm just trying to inject some attention and structure into what I'm doing. And it's very difficult. But I think it's a good medicine for me. I'm about to end it, you friggin' person. I was gonna swear at you, but I forgot that YouTube hates that shit. I don't know. I'm only supposed to do, like, I'm supposed to stream once a day. I don't know if I can afford to stream that long today, but I'm just trying to commit. Right now, it's more about commitment. I mean, it's application, but also, in my opinion, application combined with correction. I think it's easy to kind of just think you're close, but you're really just lying to yourself. And as you get stronger and stronger at art, less and less people are going to be able to detect what's wrong with your image. And then you're going to be left with just yourself to find out the problems. And when that becomes the case, then you need to really access some heavy duty tools, like literally, you know, copying and laying it on top of the original reference and then correcting to the stroke corrections. I think that's where it starts going, and I think that's how you can get stuck in like intermediate land, is that the cost to go to expert land requires a certain level of attention, patience, and like relentless, I don't want to say perfection. I think you can do this without being a perfectionist, but definitely like you can't let shit slide, and you have to be on top of your ego. You have to be like, you can't just be like, oh, this is good enough, oh, I got it, I nailed that, and then like not, you nailed something but then you don't even bother to compare or contrast it. So like, then how do you know you fucking nailed it, right? Like, it's easy to kind of just lie to yourself at some point, and then if you get good enough, there's no one there to kind of tell you you done fucked up. And that's clear when you know, people come in this chat and they're like, oh, you're doing fundamentals, like, as it's like a confused, like, oh, you've done a bunch of stuff and you've drawn a bunch of good drawings. It's like, yeah, but I'm tired of being stuck in intermediate world. Like, I'm an intermediate artist, maybe advanced intermediate, but it's like, I don't have to be here. The problem is what it requires to not be here is something I'm very weak at. And by that argument, that's why I'm still here, is because it's my weakness. My weakness isn't doing the work. It's not, you know, brush control or observation. It's being more perceptive and less, you know, more structured and perceptive and persistent and patient and diligent. You know, structuring what I learn into chunks and not just jumping all over the place. You know, right now I've been literally just focusing on learning life drawing skills. I've done this before, you know, breaking down anatomy into I'm not, like, I'm still in the breakdown anatomy into like, I could start learning anatomy, but, you know, until I feel like until I can draw an arm, you know, you know, I could sort of draw an arm, but until I can break it down into like those 3D shapes, and I'm always good, I don't want to start putting muscles on top of a base, right? One drawing before I go, are you talking for me? Is that something I'm doing? Just one for the road, eh? Anyway, so my opinion is just like, whatever is preventing me from improving is probably what I'm weak at, and what I'm weak at is the, you know, the ADHD problems, lack of attention, distraction, unstructured learning environment. Okay, I was kidding, by the way. Maybe I'll draw something, we'll see. So it's like, a lot of art is just like tackling, it's not just like, oh, like, how do I move the pencil on the screen, on the paper? It's objectively confronting your weaknesses and then solving them. And I've been drawing a very long time, and it, you know, still having realizations now. I do feel like I'm not your standard kind of artist, in the sense that I feel like, honestly, amongst my peers, I feel like I don't think I've ever felt like I've belonged in any kind of art. Even like as a furry artist, I don't know, I've always felt like an outsider. And it's just because my interest in art extends far past just like having my characters drawn and telling stories with my art. There's a genuine interest in art itself. And that just kind of always made me feel kind of like detached from any community I belong in. Like, you know, you enter a community that draws the same shit, but you find sooner or later, if you kind of like psychologically, if you fit into that group, ignoring, you know, your art, the subject of your art fitting. What are you talking about? Like, literally, one of the establishing... Did you not know this? I run and own hardblush.com. I literally, like, helped popularize femboy, gay furry femboys from 2008 on, 2007 on. But the problem with improving is it requires you to, like, continuously and I mean this not in a, like, debasing way. Oh man, I can never tell when you're BSing. It's like impossible. It's either my autism or your autism. I can't tell yet. It's just like constantly breaking your, like, your brain down. And just like looking at, like, your art look like shit because you're trying something new that you're not allowing yourself to use your old well trod methods, because it gets comfortable, and especially if it's something that either brings you a lot of joy or a lot of, you know, financial success, you know, and if that works for you and that continues to work for you. But for me, it's always the constant chasing the dragon, I guess. The ADHD always has me on the novelty, the chase for novelty and improvement and, like, solving. So it's not as simple as just, like, for some of us, it's not as simple as just getting good enough to get a name for yourself. I kind of wish it were. I'd be doing way better right now if I were able to, like, commit to any of my personas and then just satisfy people with my art. Lord knows I know how to draw a comic. That's not, like, my ability isn't my talent. Sorry, my weakness isn't my, like, ability to produce high quality works that people like. My weakness is, you know, fucking ADHD makes it like, oh, this is easy. Well, now it's not fun anymore. Now you're not engaged by it. It's not like a challenge. So your brain is like, if you do it, it feels like a kind of mechanical, a detached mechanical thing where if there isn't characters or stories or, like, a world to kind of tell through that art, then there's kind of nothing left for you to do with it. And then that style or that kind of output becomes a burden to you. If that's the kind of artist you are. It's weird to come to terms with that, really, because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I could get good at art. And for many people, they consider me extremely, you know, skilled or whatever, in contrast. But, like, what if, like, you got good at art and then you didn't want to draw anymore? Like, what if you got the thing and then you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore? Right? Like, it's like, how would you, are you psychologically ready to handle that? I mean, I have no doubt I could pick up a new job if I didn't have, like, a literal 15-year work gap. There's no doubt in my mind I could have become a coder or done, like, all sorts of technical stuff. I'm rather good with technical stuff, but I don't know, at some point you decide, listen, I'm going to commit to this even if it's, like, way harder than these other options. Especially if you get, like, like me, you spend like most of your life kind of like art frustrates you, but you do it because you like the results. And then you're almost about to give up on it. And then you find out a way to make art fun for you, but not financially. Like the kind of thing as I do with art right now don't pay the bills anymore. But I really like doing it. So it's like finding your motivation and your joy for art might not line up with paying the fucking bills. And then you have that to, you know, tackle. Once again, like, especially if you build like your identity or your name around it, and then all of a sudden it's like something inside of you doesn't want to do it, like something in you breaks, and then you're like not capable of finding any kind of like for whatever reason. I think for me it was just stress and anhedonia. But like if drawing just like causes no, and what is it, endorphins and like no brain joy stimulation, then like how the fuck do you do it then? It's funny, these like reviews are taking quite a lot of time, but I do like doing them because the shapes I'm getting out of this are like putting the structure on top of it and fixing it. I do actually like how it looks. I think like a secondary pass and applying like it's not about time, it's about money. Like I'd love to be a I'd love to make music videos. I think if I could like have 2 or 3 people to work with me on music videos and mostly be like art director and compositor, that's probably the happiest I'd ever be. If that was like my my business, where I could work with like musicians and songs I like and then bring those to life. That's probably where I'd be the most fulfilled. Because every time I've worked on like little personal music video projects or done like animated AMV stuff or whatever, I always find myself very satisfied and very joyful with that process. It doesn't feel hard, and there's a thing at the end that's like impactful. You can like create an emotion in a very short period of time instead of having to like try to tell that same thing through, you know, pages and pages of comics or a whole movie that's like inaccessible. Yeah, I actually really liked it as well. I think it was really, really good. Every time I look at it, I go, man, I'd love to be able to do this all the time. It's like one of the few times I was really, my brain was really firing, like able to like, I was able to visualize exact, you know, with art or writing, it's easy for my brain to kind of get caught up on stuff. But when I was working on that, I definitely just like, it was just a lot of clarity. It's just in my brain was like, you're gonna do this now, and then this is gonna happen, and it's gonna look like this. And it's weird, it shouldn't work like that, because like video should be more options, right? Like with a ton of like footage, it should feel more daunting, but for me it was just like a lot of clarity that I don't normally feel with art or writing or comics, where I was like, this goes here, this goes here, this is how this will feel, this is where this will go. And I think I really want to feel that again. I just don't know how to make that a career or make that a business. If I had a few bitcoins up in the fucking hiding in a hard drive somewhere, maybe I could pull that off. But That's kind of an untenable dream right now until I get enough money to have some free time to do that for myself for fun. So, like, I have an idea of what it is that I could do. It's just not it's not like accessible currently. And that's fine. I think most people are in that situation. So I'm not like I deserve this, I'm owed this. It's more like at least I know, for me it's like at least I know what I'd want, what it would be if I, you know, I got a bunch of money or I won the lottery. What my path would be. There's a lot of clarity with that. You know, just hire some talented people I like and try to make music videos with musicians I like. And then it'll be it. Excuse me. Yeah, and I mean, when I was younger, actually, I would make a lot of music too. Who I would hire, I'd have to sit down. I mean, if dream team is one thing, but like people I know personally and like, you know, I don't know. Like, if I really thought about this, I'd go for like realistic options. But I don't think like doing like an anime, like a indie animation would make me happy, but like probably like a 20-minute long music video that tells a story. That would probably be really exciting for me. That'd probably have me like hyper focused for months and months and months, like day in and day out, only thinking about it, visualizing it, you know, boarding it, designing, trying to get that to look to emote as powerfully as possible. I think part of the reason for that specifically is music is one of those few things that can really evoke a strong emotion on me. I was thinking about how like as a kid I used to be able to read manga, like maybe movies still, but it's rare with movies, and like get into the world and like feel like I'm in the world and I can teleport into it, right? Like that like feeling of like you're so entranced by the story that you start forming memories when you think back to the book that feel like your own memories, not like you're just there sitting there reading the manga. Does that make sense? Same thing can happen with books where it's like you recollect moments from the book as your own memories, like very strongly and visually, like it's a memory of yours. And I think that's like when you really hit media, I don't know what, not saturation, but when you hit like full, when you're completely utterly taken and teleported by the material, that's kind of like where you end up. And I mean, that's a good place to end up, especially if you're really enjoying it. And I think, you know, I'm happy for anyone who feels that. I think what I found was interesting, I was trying to read manga recently, you know, like whatever nuggets I may have missed. um or whatever, like, you know, what I wanted to read in the back in the day, never did. um But so I'm reading this shit and I'm like, God damn it, I'm fucking bored. This is so long. Why is everyone talking so much? Like my tolerance and my patience for like, Japan has a brevity problem because of the way that they distribute their works. And I really need every line to be extremely intentional. I have no patience. I don't know if I ever did, or being younger, I made space for it. I mean, I don't particularly want to be a non-safe work artist. I just fell into that as a career. It's probably part of the complicated emotions I have with art. Like, almost all the things I truly want to do have nothing to do with non-safe for work content. And a lot of that content I don't share because I don't want to muddle it up with erotica, because people in the West don't know how to enjoy art separated from the artist without, you know, going like, oh, this artist did this. I mean, it's not always, it's a little bit better now, but it's still kind of the case. Like if you found out the guy who writes the Da Vinci Code also draws diaper porn, you'd be like, what? And then Da Vinci Code would just be the book written by the furry diaper porn guy. Like, don't lie to me that that's not what it would happen. So I do have quite a lot of like projects I just no one's seen, or just a few people have seen. A lot of like little animated videos and like concepts and world building. God, this foot's a problem. So this is definitely an issue I'm having. It's like I should be able to terminate this foot. What I'm going to do is just leave it like this for now. Where am I from? I'm from Canada. It feels like, I mean, I shouldn't be trying to draw this thing so many times, but definitely this is an issue. I need to like investigate this as a shape, or as a, find references to like learn how to, I draw a ball, I draw this, I can probably fake it. Just leave it like that for now. God damn it. I feel like these hips should be turned in. This is a thing I need to solve. I have a hard time with hips still. It's like been just such a pain in the ass for the last few years. And even if I draw these simplified boxes, part of it always just feels a little wrong to me. That's probably just my perfectionism, but actually I've done quite a lot of foot studies, so I'm less anxious about feet recently. I boiled it down to simple breakdowns. It's this shape, like this, and then you pull this down, you make a little like pestle shape. And then you pull that out like this, like a little triangle. You know, I can get it at most angles now. From the back as well. Just drop this little pestle shape. Because the thing is this can move this way, right? So you got the ankle, and it can go down like this, but it can also, you know, go forward, and it can go backwards. And if it goes backwards, you know, you get this shape. And if it stays like forwards, then you get this shape. So I feel like I've got a real good base deconstruction that really works for me, and it's this shape. It's drawing this thing and then the ellipse at the bottom, and then once the ellipse is there, then I can kind of do everything I need to do foot-wise. That makes sense? I mean, which one? There's a bunch of them, and I just don't always feel comfortable. I mean, if you're on Discord, I might be tempted to tell you directly, but not here. So yeah, if you guys want to draw feet better, this is the way I've broken it down for myself. I think that works best. You do this, you make a sphere, and then you make like a little helmet shape. And then from that you pull down. You could pull down like a little pestle, little squash thing like this. And you make sure you get the ellipse here. It's really important that you visualize that, because then you can really kind of plant the rest. Because the foot, if I have this, then I know the foot goes here, and then I can visualize the rest, right? But see, this foot is supposed to be at an angle, so then if that's the angle, I need to do something more like this. It's not perfect, but it's giving me better structure than I used to get. There's still more to learn, but I definitely feel like this has got me in a much better place than I've been before. And I think from this point, I can start adding more and more structure and still be very safe without like panicking and feeling like I'm breaking down the shapes, or the anatomy is breaking down too much. It needs to go a little bit further in. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's enough for me to be like, okay, I'm not constantly struggling with what a foot's supposed to look like. All right, we'll follow up at some point when I'm less busy, because after this I got to take care of some stuff. I approved you. Your Discord name starts with D. Well, I wasn't trying to dox you, but sure. Uh-huh. So one shape I've been using, I've been trying to do breakdowns recently, and I came across this one. I kind of like, for the hip. Here, I'll show it to you guys so that I don't forget it. So I've been doing this for the hips. So what this is, it's like the hips plus a cylinder, sort of like a little soft, gooey cylinder. And then you know, your standard torso lump, torso heap. No, I didn't dox you. You doxed yourself. I just said your name starts with a D. I didn't say your full name. You did that. That was my point. I was making an effort to not dox you. You done did it to yourself, bro. And then the idea again is to draw this like the same idea as this down here, but for the shoulders. So it's like, picture like a tube that's being cut into. So imagine like this shape, but like it's been cut into like this. And don't ask me about color. I haven't even started tackling that yet. People say Marco Bucci's pretty good. Probably just do that. I don't know if it's helpful. I was watching a few and it wasn't really helping me much, but all right. So yeah, this idea is that you use this shape, and the goal here isn't to like say this is a solid shape. It's like the idea is that, let's say you have like a torso, a nice old torso heap. I mean, I use so many methods. Yeah, get a sketchbook and start drawing at it every time you have free time, every day. Have it on you in your bag wherever you go. So you're waiting for something to load, draw on it. You're gonna go for a walk, sit down and draw on it. You're gonna go to the doctor, draw in the bus or in the car, or draw when you get there while you're waiting. First thing you do in the morning, draw on it. It doesn't matter what you draw on it, just draw something. Draw the coffee cup, draw a reference off of fucking Pinterest. It doesn't fucking matter. Just get used to making drawing something you do on your free time that isn't something you sit down to do like it's work, and it isn't something you show anybody. That's my take. I think you start gravitating towards things you like drawing just naturally. And it's really important you don't draw it's really important that you don't draw things you like to look at in the book. Don't draw like, oh, I like anime, I'm going to draw anime. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to just draw anything with and not show anybody. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so this is the idea, is like if you have like a torso, and then because it really sells, and then you've got this like gooey tube that's like cutting through it. I feel like it really kind of sells it to your brain that it's like sitting, you know, this sits on top. It's not, or because it isn't, right? Like, and if the arms are going forward, and the cylinder really helps you like keep your mind on this like resting. I don't know how effective it is in the grand scheme of things. It's just something I've been playing with. I think in this case it really can't be blocked in. Like if your arms are moving forward, maybe just move the whole structure forward like this. That actually might work better, because here's the thing, like shoulders have such huge movement range. Maybe just moving the whole cylinder forward makes more sense. I'm not sure yet. Like, I do know that this has helped me a lot. I got this from a Taiwan artist, where if you're drawing, sorry, I'll just draw a better torso. This. And draw this line here and then follow through. Straight down, forward, down, like that. Okay, that's a good torso. And then if you draw this like shoulder, to always attach it to the body like this. So if you got this here, you just always attach it with this kind of line, because this represents the serratus and the shoulder girdle. And it helps just really cement where it is on the body and the shape you're supposed to get. So if you're like, have a torso like this, right? And then the arm is up. Well, if you keep it attached like that, then you kind of just get a free armpit shape, right? Yeah, I used to draw a lot of it. Actually, I'm pretty innately talented at mecha. It's actually what I'm the best at. I've just spent a lot of times wasting it on trying to draw humans. As for how to study, if you don't enjoy the process, then it's important that you create a challenge that you can measure your improvement. Otherwise, it's pointless. And that's not that hard to do. You just have a test. You go, I need to, here you have a piece of paper, you print it out of all the muscles. Like you have a piece of paper like this, okay? And it has all the muscles on one side, whatever, okay? And then you fold this down the center, all right? And you have a bunch of these printed out, right? And then in the morning you study this side, and in the night you fill out this side, okay? And then you fold it open, and then you correct, right? And then you repeat that until you can fill out the right side without looking to the left side. And if every so often you can pull these sheets out, fold them down, fill out one side, and then review. And that way you can grade and easily see that you're improving. Otherwise, if you can't quantify your improvements, then it feels pointless, because it is pointless, because you're not measuring your improvements. So you're never going to feel like you've improved. It's hard to measure improvement, especially with art, because it's such small increments of improvement. So this is just one way to do it. You can do all sorts of ways. You don't have to do it this way. You can have little postcards or little like cards you filled out, and on the other side it says what it is, and then you pull it out. So this is what you're trying to remember. On this side it says like what it is, and then you pull out this one and then you draw it on your sketchbook, and then you flip it over, you flip this over, and then you review it. With this method though, you can keep these and you can see your improvement, and you can see how dog shit you started at, and you can just grade it, and you can see how much, because if you keep doing this and you date these, then you can, you know, let like a few months pass by and you can see how well you do on it. And if you've dipped to a point where it's unacceptable, you can just cycle it back into your process. If that makes any sense. Listen, this is good advice you're not going to get on a normie YouTube channels, all right? This is the real shit. A lot of what I do with art now is just not, it's not, like I said, it's not important that you just start, it's not important, it's not about the quality of the learning material, it's about the quality of your session, and it's about ensuring that you it's about the quality, your quality assurance. It's easy to trick yourself into thinking you got good at something because you got a good result in that one session, but that doesn't carry over one for one from session to session. So that's why I keep repeating this, like, overconfidence, and like, you're not done when you think you're done. You're done when you can recall it. If you can recall it, if you can like close your eyes and literally see your sketchbook, like if you can literally see the image in your mind's eye, like in its full accuracy, then you're done. But if you're like, there's fog, For me, it always comes down to you have to get rid of the fog. If the fog is never, if you don't ever dismiss the fog, then you're not, if you haven't like cleared away all the fog in your brain, then you haven't learned the material. And it's not always going to be just, like I said, learning, like, oh, I got to learn, you know, brute force, you know, anatomical learning. The reason I'm doing, like, the reason I'm doing life, gesture stuff is because there's something intangible about gesture practice that really can't be reinforced through textbook learning. And it's just like an innate secondhand vibe or feeling about how this pose should feel coming out of your pen. Like, just a very natural kind of language of pose that no amount of like book is going to teach you, and no amount of instruction, repeated instruction, going to fix. There are certain things about art that has to be learned almost exclusively through doing, and nowhere and in no other way. I think using a pencil and not using an eraser is totally fine. I think the insistence on, I'll tell you what, my problem with pens, you have to hold them a certain way. If you just have like a dark mechanical pen, right? You can hold it like this. You can hold it tilted. It won't matter. I think artificially restricting how your pen should be on the screen as you draw is shouldn't be part of the learning process. And fine liners actually have a hard time at a certain angle because they have a flat tip. Okay. And if you go like this, then the tip gets like, it goes from thick to thin, and at some point it doesn't even really draw correctly. So just use a fucking pencil. Just don't erase. I think this the draw box thing where it's like use it. I think that's really overstated. And I find the fine liner gets in the way of me wanting to draw because I have to hold it in a very, very specific direction. I don't find it helpful in the least sometimes. Honestly, I think it's bad advice. And also, here, I'll tell you a few other reasons. Fine liners and markers eat through paper, and a lot of these things require you to draw over the same thing over and over, and then your paper gets all fucking eaten through, and then you're like, I can't tell what I'm doing. The problem with pencils is if you start using a ruler, it smears the pencil shit everywhere. I don't think there's an optimal choice. You either deal with the shitty pencil smears, or you deal with having to hold the pencil in a certain position in the group and like eating through the paper. So there's still some learning I got to do with feet. I think this area here is still an issue. But I haven't been learning that area, so I don't feel too bad about that. So I think definitely feel that I need to continue doing these, like, this is the direction I need to take to get better at standing poses. And I feel, I have two feelings about this. Basically, once I get this kind of feeling natural, it's probably going to take like 2 or 3 weeks. Once this feels kind of natural, sorry. Once this feels kind of natural, then I can go in like maintenance phase where I just do like maybe 5 minutes before I'm about to do a lot of like poses and stuff. I do like, you know, 5-10 minute set, and that's it. But I think to improve generally, I probably need to do an hour-ish a day for about 2 weeks to start really making it like a natural, have a natural feeling, until I get to the point where it's just like I probably can nail a pose in about, I'd say, 20 seconds, and then I can like call one pretty accurately from my mind in about, and it's close to something I've seen before. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't like giving advice that is, oh, that's what worked for me. I genuinely want to give organic, like, everyone advice. The problem is that to get to that answer, it requires a sort of general introspection, a personal introspection, and a general, like, diffusing it down to what could be best used for most people. It's kind of fucking hard to give that advice sometimes, and it's my biggest complaint with a lot of YouTube tutorials is that, you know, someone who's really positioned to learn very well, or either has the free time or predisposition, or, you know, whatever reason, tells you like, oh, I did this and it really improved my art. And it's like, and I've talked about this before, but the biggest way to improve your art is to get a bunch of worry-free time. If you're rich, you have a bunch of money, or you have no worries, that's going to be your biggest asset to improving. Okay, I'm sorry, and it's just the reality. Is the first thing you need to really get good at drawing is a bunch of worry-free time. And if you can't get it, that's why I say, like, learn to sneak it in a sketchbook throughout your day, because you can definitely get listen, if you can get 3 hours of fucking Instagram screen time, you can get 3 hours of drawing in. It's not even hard. It's just about the lie you tell yourself. You just get used to something different, and then the endorphins come from that. My biggest problem with art right now is I use it to avoid things I need to be doing. I use art to avoid drawing. I use art to avoid, like, taking care of business and stuff. Like, my biggest problem with art is that I'm using art like I'm using, you know, escapism. It's its own. It can become its own problem because you wield it like you wield it like a social media or games. You could wield it just as easily as that. It's not even that hard, you know. So, like, this idea, like, I want to draw all the time, I'm like, I can fix that for you, but I might monkey paw you with it, you know. There's a point where it's like, I should stop drawing. I've been drawing, like, literally on the day I went to my Today I went to my live drawing, I was drawing on the train before I went. I was drawing during the breaks, and then I was drawing after my life drawing. So I probably got 7 hours of drawing just from the moment I left to before I went to bed. So the life drawing itself was barely part of the drawing. Part of the drawing I did in that like afternoon block, because I had left around 4. So yeah, I'd probably been drawing solid from 4 to when I went to bed. And it's easy to do that to the detriment of the things you need to be doing instead. Yeah, it can easily fill that role. And the thing is, it's like with digital, it's kind of weird because when I work on traditional, I definitely have way less experience doing traditional art. But then when I hop back to digital, I feel like Piccolo or whatever taking off his like cape and like armbands. It's kind of disarming how much traditional art is not at all the same beast. Traditionally, it requires like all sorts of different faculties and, you know, line confidence and an ability to like roll with the punches that just you can completely sidestep with digital. And I think like it's definitely, if I had to give advice and be like, what should I do first? Should I start on digital? I'd be like, no. You should work on your traditional first until you get some level of line confidence and commitment. Because I just think it's too easy for digital to just build up a bunch of really bad fucking habits that are very, very difficult to weed out. Because you have to take a complete hit to your output quality. And it gets harder and harder as time goes by to accept how much of a hit to your art you take when you're not using drawing digitally. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I've had so many plate spinning that like I'm very bad at my business now. I had these plate spinning for so much that like it's difficult to commit to all these things, and I'm not doing them very well. That's where a lot of my issues are stemming from now. It's like I spun these plates for the last almost 20 years now, and I'm out of gas. I just kind of want to be left alone to draw and learn how to draw, and that's not really something I can do anymore. But it's like, if I don't love art, I'm just not going to draw ever, because drawing just for money is just eating me away gradually over time. That's just the realization I came to. It's like I have to make time every day to improve and to just draw because I want to and I like it, and I have like things I want to do with it that have nothing to do with money or, you know, non-safe for work stuff. It's just, if I don't make room for it, I'm just not going to do it anymore. So anyway. I'm gonna wrap up soon. I gotta start taking care of business, speaking of which. Like, if I could figure out a way to be a good teacher, you know, on YouTube and make money out of this, I would. I don't know how to do it without it, like, requiring me to be, you know, make a lot of, like, concessions to the way my brain thinks, and then like having to re-record this and kind of not be myself. I don't know how to communicate that. I really wanted to, you know, part of me is like, just make your old like Tumblr ones, but I don't think that sort of content gets distributed like it used to anymore. I don't think I'll be reaching any kind of real audience. I mean, maybe if I was more consistent, but I don't have the free time anymore to hope something will pan out. I kind of have to like just staunch the losses by just doing comms and finding the low-hanging fruit. So I would really love to just like find a way to be an excellent art communicator and successful at that. I just don't know if I have the tools or the perspicacity to do it currently. I don't think I have the or even really kind of a confidence issue. I've been just kind of working on these ideas. I'm actually pretty happy with how these poses are coming out. I feel like there's definitely like something to this that I can start really using. Like where I don't have to feel as bottled up or like weak with my poses. I definitely feel like I can pull something very strong out of this, and it'd be fun to be able to get this to a point where I can like animate with it. I think one of my annoyances with when I animate is I feel kind of like, it's not that I feel slow, I just feel like very inconsistent with my work, where it's like I don't have a method to draw the same character over and over and over and over again, and then the model changes over and over again, and that just kind of slows down the process. But yeah, I think this stuff is helping, so I think I'm going to commit to it. I think it's like a little, like, it feels kind of like it shouldn't really help. It feels like one of those things that you do in art school that's not really important. But I'm really starting to kind of get a vibe for why animation classes kind of insist on their students doing this. And I definitely feel like if I was an animation studio, I'd want to see gestures in a portfolio. I think it's very revealing to how the artist can like knows how to condense shape and flow innately in a way that's like usable and functional. Well, the problem with writing is I also have like mental blocks with writing. I don't know. The problem is then I write it and then I have to act, and then I'm not good at not being like at acting a persona, like reading it and pretending I'm like excited. I don't know. I'm fucking just dog shit at all this crap. This arm, I feel like I haven't fully learned this lesson yet. I mean, I don't know if I put myself down. I mean, look at the views on my channel. I literally can't crack 5,000. I can't, literally kids who start off making YouTube channels are doing way better in the teaching YouTube sphere. I think there's just genuinely something like, there's something about how I want to do this that feels natural to me that isn't very sellable. But if I don't do it, if I don't communicate it that unsellable way, then I don't really want to sell it. I don't want to really do it any other way. And my problem with that is that I'm not a very good art, you know, teacher if I'm not reaching anybody. Part of like the goal of trying to teach people is you need to like reach an audience to help improve. Like it can't just be like 5 people. I mean, it can be if that's paying the bills. That's not going to be paying the bills for me. But it needs to be a combination of both. Like part of teaching is learning how to communicate in a way that's that a good portion of people can learn and gain real insight from, not just like the 6 people at your level. There are concessions to be made to being a good teacher, and a good teacher isn't someone that makes 6 people in the class all care about, you know, physics. A good teacher is someone who can teach the majority of the class. I mean, I would like to have, what's it called? Like I have thought about having someone narrate that shit. I don't know. No, I know. I mean, why do you think I'm forcing myself to stream? This is literally an effort in that direction. I've streamed every day in the past week, so I'm being persistent and consistent right now. at the first step. My first step is just being accessible and vocal. Like I know what the path is. It's just it's not, it's like I said, I spent a good portion of time drawing things that didn't bring me joy. I'm not going to start a new career making content that feels like shit making. So I need to find and explore a way to do this that doesn't feel like shit. But that's still effective. Otherwise, I'm not going to commit. I'm not going to want to do it. So that's what I'm kind of contending with. It's just like, and also as I make these videos, I'm just kind of building a library of ideas I can go back to. I can go look at all these live streams and go like, rewatch them and then collect my thoughts and be like, yeah, I should really discuss this. Otherwise, I just don't talk about any of this. So at least this way I'm capturing it pretty naturally. So that's the kind of like concession I've made right now. It's just at least do this, and at least it's not just sitting in my brain doing nothing. I think it's also, I mean, I find a lot of like use, like the thing I've come to understand as well, like there's people out there who are making, you know, YouTube art content that aren't improving, won't improve, but they're still communicating something that might be useful. So that's the kind of point I'm making. It's just like, being an effective communicator ultimately is probably more important than really what you're teaching. But for me, it's like I'm kind of easily conflating the two, because I want to genuinely, I don't want to give anyone, I don't like being yanked around and given bad advice or advice that's just simply not useful. And especially the kind of advice that only works for the artist. It's the easiest kind of advice to give, and I think it's just the mistake most art YouTubers give. But it's just like the ultimate flaw, the ultimate like sin to me. To like, this is how I draw, and it's not, and it's just like eschewing all like potential pitfalls or issues or, you know, walls someone could hit while attempting to learn, and it's just like people give up, man. They think they see someone who draws well or well enough, and then they say a thing, and then it's just not gonna work. And then people go like, well, I'm at fault. They blame themselves, and I definitely don't like the idea of doing that to anybody. So part of me would rather, like, there are literal art YouTubers I just stopped watching because they kept making content that they confess they haven't even really tested. I think Bro Can Draw, I just had to stop watching his shit because he has the advantage of being at school and he can draw literally every day, all day, and he's being instructed. And then he comes and he gives advice about things people should do, and he's like, I just started doing this yesterday. I'm like, well, how the fuck do you know if this works? Like, that's untested shit. I don't need like a bunch of like crap in my brain about what I should be doing that's untested. I don't need advice that just works for you because you just started using it. But like, when you just start drawing, or when you start getting really good at drawing and you're young or something, like, I'll be honest, like, pretty much anything you do is going to help you improve, especially if you're very diligent and really into the process. Yeah, like I said, like, I don't know how to package this. There's probably a way to do it, but I think it's just honestly to take what I say, break it down into a simple narration, throw money at someone to like narrate it, and put like decent videos together. I just don't have the time or budget to do that right now. That feels very reachable as far as like what would work. Distill the advice down to something that's like watchable and has a accompanying video, and you know, is like reaches the minimum required quality and polish of general audiences. But teaching or helping people draw is not covering any bills right now. It's all like voluntary. I can't monetize my channel and I can't get any attention to it. So like anytime I put into streaming or talking about anything on it is just free time. No, shorts is an avenue as well, but like, once again, it's just the time to take it out, cut it up. I don't know. It's definitely something I think about every day. I'm talking to editors and I'm trying to solve this problem. I don't think I have a good teaching voice. I think there are better voices equipped out there to engage people. I don't think it's a bad voice. I'm not being hard up on myself like, oh, whatever. It's more of a like, I don't think it's appealing. And I think there's more, I think a nice, appealing, soothing voice can help sell the material. So it just kind of comes down to that. It's just like, if I'm going to put a lot of effort into communicating something deeply personal that I think will help people, I'd like it to have the best shot possible to reach the biggest audience. And to just kind of sit there and put a bunch of effort in, use my own voice, knowing that I think it, you know, might detract from it might detract from the message. It doesn't really fill me with the confidence to do it. I'd rather it get a good earnest shot to reach as many people as possible if I'm going to go through the effort of, you know, writing a script and putting all this content and video together. So it's not me being like, oh, I sound like shit. It's just me wanting to make the effort have the highest impact possible, especially if I'm going to put a bunch of production and time into it. short form videos aren't really something you'd have to do with a voice anyway. You can just have music and text. People don't really, I don't even know if it's required. And also it's like, short form content is almost anti-learning. Because like it's easy to get down and go into the YouTube hole where you're like, if I watch a bunch of videos I'll get good, but it always comes back down to like, you gotta sit down and do the fucking work. You can own a million fucking tutorials, but you have to crack them open and read them, and then you have to apply them. Like, it doesn't work through osmosis. It just fucking doesn't. I mean, there are benefits, like, and I'm just talking about fucking reading your books. Like, sitting down and just reading the book can be useful. There's quite a few books where like themes and ideas can help people like get better just through reading, and people don't even do that. People don't read the Loomis book, because Loomis, if they did, they'd find out immediately. Loomis says don't use this circle method as your base shape because heads vary. You'll get the same head over and over, and that's literally the only thing people use it for. They use it, that they use a default shape, they get same face, and then they don't vary the skull shape. And literally that's the fucking third line in the Loomis How to Draw book, is don't use this how everyone's using it currently. This is a way to like consistently kind of draw a head, but it's not the end all, and it requires like creativity. No, I mean, like, listen, I know I'm in my own head, of course. Y'all are artists. Y'all get into your own fucking heads about everything. That's why we have a hard time improving. That's why we almost do this shit. See ya, take care. And also, I mean, that's also kind of the reason why I do these videos. I kind of want to talk through this, because I'm pretty isolated most of the time, and I don't really know how to communicate this naturally to people in my life. I don't really think I have opportunities to do it in a way where I feel like I'm being fully engaged in the first place. All right. Yeah, no, I think it's listen, I think, guys, I think it's totally achievable, and I think it's just the situation is getting to the point where I'm doing it effectively. And I don't think that's something I can't do. I think it's just something I have to learn and earn to do, just like anything else. So. I'm gonna end up the stream right now. So I'll see you guys later. Take care, and thanks for watching.